Hello, everyone. I'm doing yet another news recap, a news roundup, if you will. Now, I actually don't like doing these back-to-back weeks. I kind of like to spread them out a little bit, let more news stories pile up. And I also understand that this is not the most thrilling of content, just watching me go through news stories. Except something came up this week, and I don't really want to wait another week to talk about it. I think we have to address it as soon as possible. But that will come toward the end of the video. For now, let's hit some of the other news stories that popped up that I think are worth discussing. For starters, we have in front of us Masterpiece Yukikaze, the latest of the MPG collection for the Masterpiece Gatai, the next train bot, basically. And it does pretty much pan out the same as the other train bots. Yeah, he's got a little bit of shell going on in his arms, some folded up legs, and forms a big bricky leg for Raiden once fully completed. This one, not a whole lot to say. It's a beige tan color with some green. I'm still of the mindset that this is just I'll repeat it every chance I get. These things are just like way too expensive to not tell us ahead of time what this is going to look like when you buy all of them. I don't know why we still have this prevention of corporate espionage mindset about these things. Look, you're protected. You made the toy, you can prove that you owned it first. Just show the freaking toy. Just show it off so we know what we're putting $1,000 into. I don't know, but for whatever. If you're into these, hey, you got one more on the way. No release date yet, as far as I can see. It's just a very small, blurry preview image. So we still don't know when your Raiden will be half complete, but it's on the way. So let's get into something that you could actually afford to buy. Thanks to the Toy Thief, we have a shot of Red Cog, the Target exclusive figure that is due out soon. So, yeah, as you can see, it is a Siege Cog done up in red with about a bajillion weapons added in. So, yeah, the whole thing is, this is similar to the pack they did with the Ractonite repaint, where it's a figure that you can combine with something else, and it just comes with a ludicrous amount of weaponry to throw onto whatever transformer you want. And not just weaponry, there's barrels and things that you can use for other items and objects, kind of prop play. These canisters on his chest as well, you can adapt those into alternate items. But yeah, he looks good. Like, the color scheme works pretty well on here. It's mimicking the Netflix cog, so or one of the Netflix cogs, I should say. So nothing really wrong with that outside of like this. You'd think this would have been in the Netflix line. Oh well. But yeah, and yeah, you can, we'll just show off. Okay, there's your vehicle mode. There's your vehicle mode with a ton of guns. Yeah, and it shows off that extra gun that plugs into the back of Arcee or Elita 1 to form this massive shoulder gun pack like they had in the show. I do appreciate the added effort to work with her existing combination to create something ridiculous that like matches the scene in the show. The downside of this is it's not the most balanced thing on that figure, because that figure is not the most balanced thing to begin with. It looks like she's taking a squat in the bushes. That's not the pose of a warrior, Elita 1. It's just not. And yeah, you can see just lots of parts, lots of 5mm pegs and sockets. Lots for you to play with. So that should be fun for those who like to build around with their weaponizers and have a lot of weaponry options. I know, we don't get like weapon packs in Transformers unless it's a set like this, so I kind of appreciate when they do it. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna go in for it. I'll leave that to you to decide if it's worth that. For me, I don't know. I don't do the weapon pack thing. I think most of this will just end up in the bottom of a bin somewhere and kind of forget who they go to a year from now. All right. Moving on to something that has even more parts associated with it. Yolopark has shown off its Primal model kit for Earth Mode Bumblebee Optimus Prime. I'm showing this picture first because I think this is the most impressive picture of the lot. You see all that internal detail that they sculpted in that you have to build before you even put the red and blue shells on him. It's a pretty, like, incredibly detailed component considering there's, it's not the part you're ever going to see. But yeah, it looks cool. It looks more like, like a pre-Bumblebee Transformer design, just a big gray skeleton. Look at that, even a spinal column, which looks like it incorporates truck parts, which is a really inventive idea. Like, it's kind of creepy in a way, but also, like, kind of cool. Yeah, like, the detailing on this thing looks ridiculous. The painted parts are a brilliant shade of silver. This looks really, really nice, and really good head sculpt, too. Really like the head sculpt. So let me get to... Yeah, lots of detail photos for this shot. They wanted to make sure you knew exactly what you were building. Superhero pose. Superhero landing. Alright, come on. They took a lot of photos of this thing without parts on it, didn't they? Alright, let's get a better comparison. Alright. So, I believe with and without? Yeah, I believe so. I was trying to make, because, like, this one looks a little bit smaller. So this might be the Cybertronian mode. I don't know. But yeah, this thing looks incredible. Like, absolutely amazing looking. I'm trying to spot the difference between... Okay, I see. Well, I see a little bit of difference between them. Like this one's definitely a lot cleaner than the other shot. But yeah, it's just a spectacular looking Optimus. Now, of course, it's a model kit. It does not transform, but whoa, that's pretty. Oh, look at all the shifting parts to make that knee bend. Oh, that's ridiculous. Oh, I didn't see that before. That's insane. And it goes the other. Oh, that's not even the knee. That's the elbow. Oh my God. That's a wow. That's not even a double hinged elbow. That's like a triple, quadruple, like quintuple hinge. That's impressive. That's really impressive. And that's going to be really complicated to build. So, all right, he gets his rifle. Looks nice. And he gets a big ol' axe. So, two of his traditional weapons at least. Yeah, I don't know if this is the kind of thing I'll go in on. I do like me some model kits. But this one, I don't know. This is going to be like a big, expensive one. I don't think the... give me a second. Let's see if it's actually up. Oh, yeah, $200. No. I'm good. I'm good. It's almost a full foot tall, but at $200, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Let's move on to something that I might actually be able to afford. So, we have a quick little update. A couple little random listings came in. So, they have a listing for Gen Studio Series Leader TF7 Cyclops, as well as Transgen Holiday Optimus Prime. So, Transgen Holiday Optimus Prime is most likely Earthrise Optimus in some kind of holiday color scheme. So, probably swap your blue plastic for green and put some nice, like festive deco on the trailer. And then Cyclops is codename for Optimus Primal for the movie line. I think what's more disturbing about this is the fact that the MSRP is $15,599. We just got price hikes on every size class not long ago, and now we're seeing another one on the leader class at least. These better be good. That's all I'm saying. These better be real good. All I'm saying. What I think is interesting is Primal is listed as a leader class. I'm like really wondering like how big of a Optimus Primal we're getting for this movie. Should be cool though. Should be cool. Like most of what I've seen of Primal, like I've actually liked. I know. Trust me, we're gonna get to that topic. I know what you're thinking. So, let's move on. We have a little bit of designer commentary on the new Studio Series 86 Arcee, which is a retool of the thrilling 30 Arcee and exceptionally retooled version, as we have noticed. So basically the sum of it is they decided they didn't have enough confidence that they could turn Earthrise into an 86 movie accurate version of Arcee, so they wanted to use Thrilling 30 instead. But then they, and that sounds like they only had a little budget to work with in order to make an 86 Arcee for the movie line. And then they say they added a brand new head, new forearms, a new torso, new legs, and new rear of the car. I think that's about 60% of the toy minimum that got retooled. That seems pretty extensive to me. That seems like you had quite a bit of budget for the retooling. We got a comparison shot between the two. I'm not sure the new head sculpt was necessary outside of just dropping it down so it didn't float so high off of her shoulders. But I feel like that's a torso fix more than it is a head fix. Okay, so new chest, I don't really see it. Looks pretty similar. New midsection, obviously, so she now has waist articulation that the original did not. Different hip articulation, because it's a different transformation scheme. And yeah, they got rid of the little slots on the forearms for the swords because obviously she doesn't have them anymore. I assume that's why the rear of the vehicle mode was also remolded in order to fill up the gaps that those swords would have stored in. It's still committing the same sin that Earthrise Arcee did, in that her entire vehicle mode is on her back, save for the little part on front that her chest forms. And it does take away from the Thrilling 30's ability to actually incorporate some of her robot into the vehicle mode. Sometimes results are hard to argue, though. Look at how much posability you're getting in that Arcee figure. That's second only to the Masterpiece as far as retail Arcees go. She actually looks really nice. In some ways, she's actually more accurate to Arcee than the Masterpiece, because she actually has squared off sections in her midsection instead of being rounded and sexied that they did for the MP. This is the most telling shot for me. So, Paradrawn Medic here, Lifeline. That is the Earthrise mold. Over here on the left, we have the new 86 movie version. And yeah, you can see, while you do have all of her vehicle stored in shell on her back, 95% of it, this is still what does it for me. It's not just that, our last Arcee was such a shell former. It's that she barely transformed on top of that. In order to get into the shell, she barely transformed. Not the case of this Arcee. It actually looks like she's a far more compelling figure to transform than the last Arcee we got. So I'm actually looking forward to this. This looks like it has some credibility to it, and you can see just how much work they did to make this a little bit more special than just another Earthrise. And she can do that now too, by the way. I think it's very telling that we're getting a new Elita 1 and a new Arcee so quickly after the Earthrise mold, especially after the Earthrise got re-released in Kingdom. It's like they know the fan reception to that mold, and they decided to eliminate every trace of it. But it looks cool. It looks nice. All right, this was a weird story. So Hasbro applied for the Maximal and Predacon logo trademarks, which you'd think wouldn't be that weird of a story, right? So what's weird about it is Hasbro hasn't had these symbols trademarked since 2002. 20 years. 20 years they felt no need to re-up the trademarks on these. Now that doesn't mean you could go using them willy-nilly or someone else could have claimed them, because these also fall under copyright law, which copyrights take decades to fall off the books. And Hasbro, of course, has a long history of using the symbols so they can prove that it's their intellectual property. Trademarks just make it easier to fight anything they would come up against legally. So it's just a weird thing. It's 20 years the Maximal and Predacon logos have not been trademarked. I hope this means more impending uses of those logos. If you want a more detailed breakdown of how something gets left off the board for that long or why it was still safe, Nevermore over on TFW 2005 did a lot of the research and a lot of the explanation. So I would suggest going and reading those posts if you want to know why. All right. So we got new in-hand shots of Legacy Motormaster, which is out in Australia already somehow. That's crazy. We got a lot of in-hand shots, a lot of comparisons. I think this is the only comparison shot you really need to see. I think this is the only one that really, is really relevant or worth discussing here. I would argue that the Combiner War Menasor is still better toy play-wise because it will work with the Combiner War gimmick. It will do the Scramble City thing. But you cannot argue that that is probably one of the lower tier combiners in that toy line and the one that most desperately needed a second go. You can argue that the combination method for the new Menasor is not very thrilling. It certainly is a lot simpler, and the cars are certainly not going to add as much visual. That said, it's going to look a lot more solid. It's going to look a lot more cohesive. It looks like it's going to articulate better. It doesn't have this weird, like, super high, tiny pelvis thing that this one has. It just overall just looks a lot better. Like, it's just going to be a lot better looking Menasor by the time it's all said and done. So, that's my takeaway. That's the only shot you need to see. Yeah, I'm sold on the new Menasor now. I'm absolutely sold on the new Menasor and going all in on a new set of Stunticons that do not Scramble City, but as a result actually look really, really good. We got a reveal for Shattered Glass Blaster, which I think answered a question. I think we speculated, I think Vangelis speculated on the TFW 2005 podcast that maybe Rewind wasn't, or Eject. Maybe Eject was not gang molded into the chest. Maybe he's got his own little mold. We'll see, like, Rewind released later on individually. No, this pretty much confirms it. Like, they're gang molded. We got red and red for that window chest. Blaster is actually, like, such a neat Shattered Glass one because it is, like, really is just like a mirror image. With all the dark parts bright, all the bright parts dark. He looks like a photo negative, which is like a kind of a cool aspect to him. Rather than like going for some like super obscure color scheme to apply to him, like this keeps it simple, and I think it looks really good. And even like in the boombox mode, that just looks like a standard boombox. Okay, so it is Rewind. Okay, so it's hard enough for me to keep those two straight in my head, and then you throw in the fact that it's red now. But yeah, the Shattered Glass lineup continues. It's looking good. Yeah, and there's a little bit of a package art for you. Yeah, looking good. Okay, one more story to finish this off, and this is the one. This made the rounds all over my Discord. Which the link is still disabled for a little bit. Give me time. But no, this is the one that I think everyone was talking about. We're getting a new ape face. And that's very literal. That's very literal. So this is the roleplay mask for Rise of the Beast. At least it's the first one that we have seen. You can see the movie version of the Maximal logo there, which incorporates some Autobot elements to it. Interesting choice. But the monkey face is not the reason people are talking about this or why it's spreading around so much. We're talking about it because it fully transforms. This is the weirdest thing Hasbro's done in a long, long time. Alright, so you can see the back of it. The legs are obviously mistransformed unless you just want to stick the Primal's feet in your mouth. Some people are into it. I don't question it. But you can see how this whole thing just kind of folds together. And you can see where the knees are. So you can see where the panels fold out and then close together to create the legs. This is crazy. This is lunacy. This is like the weirdest thing Hasbro's ever released. This is up there with like Japan having like transforming shoes. But it's actually kind of cool. Like I understand there's role play and playing pretend when you're a kid, but when you've got like a Bumblebee mask and the only thing it does is like light up around the eyes, I honestly ask, like, why? Like, what's the point? You couldn't make it do anything else. And then they do this. My only concern with this is I feel like if the straps are too tight, then some of this is going to collapse. Because like this is like the hinge where all this folds over to create Primal's chest here. So what if this like the top of the head strap is too tight and it just kind of like buckles in? Also, it doesn't look like the most comfortable thing. There's no padding. You're just like pressing Primal straight to your face. Oh, this is gonna be weird. This is gonna be weird. I'm gonna have to do an entire like live stream in this thing, aren't I? Just for the laugh. Yeah, but yeah, that is where we're going to end it, because what could I possibly talk about that is going to top a transforming monkey face? You know, famously, Optimus Prime wants your face. We know this. I did not know Primal wanted you to have his face. But you know what? I'm curious. I am definitely curious. So, thank you guys for joining me on another little roundup of all the news topics of the week. I hope everyone is looking forward to their monkey faces coming in soon. And stay tuned. There's always new stuff with the Transformers world coming, and I'm always ready to talk about it. So maybe we'll do one next week. Maybe we'll skip. We'll see. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.